Hey guys, KRX here with part 3 of my Power Rangers figure reviews mini-series. This time I'll be going over transforming figures, which are Ranger figures that, using parts attached to them, or not attached to them, can transform into different things. They typically have just one transformation, but sometimes may have more than one. If anyone's wondering where's part 2, well, I actually uploaded that last night, and it got uploaded late last night because the first time I tried to upload it, it got stuck at 60% and just kept getting delayed and wouldn't go past there. So I had to cancel that and try uploading it again, but it was really, really late when it all got fully uploaded. So I'm going to put an annotation link right about there where you can watch part 2. So I've got two figures for review today. The Mega Morphin SWAT Mode Red Ranger from Power Rangers SPD, and the Dragon Morphin Red Ranger from Power Rangers Mystic Force. So, as with all of them, I'll take a look at them in order of their series. So, the SWAT Mode Red Ranger is up first. Bring that over there. So, here we go. So, of course, we started in his Ranger mode, which is, of course, like I explained, the SWAT Mode Red Ranger, though it is a little bit strange to look at because of the things that are not quite what the SWAT Mode Red Ranger is supposed to look like. Things that are not supposed to be on the SWAT Mode Red Ranger, such as these wings jutting out, or this curved part with a hole sticking out, or these kind of panels on the side of the legs, or the feet. Additionally, the chest is not supposed to be that way, but this is all for the purpose of the transformation. It still has a nice looking figure though. The head is well painted and well detailed, and once again they sculpt the SPD badge and paint it onto the forehead, as well as molding SPD onto the belt buckle. The arms are pretty simple. They're black plastic with just little bits of red paint along them, while the legs are actually, as far as I can tell, the legs may or may not be painted. It's such red that I can't really tell whether it's paint or whether it's plastic, especially since there haven't been any chips on this figure. The legs do get down the leg bracing of the SPD SWAT mode quite well. Articulation-wise, no head joint, arms rotate 360. They're also on kind of a ball joint, as they can move a little bit forward and backward, a little bit in and out as well. And the legs are interesting because, unlike other Ranger figures that usually can't move their legs back at all, or just a little bit, this figure can move its legs forward, back, as well as in and out, and of course, a little rotation there. And the interesting thing is, the legs are actually ratcheted at 4 points. See, 1, 2, well, it goes forward and backward 2 points, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And the feet is on something of a ball joint itself, though it's a little tight ball joint, so the wiggle side to side is a little bit limited, but you can rotate the feet all the way around. So, accessory-wise, it includes these two blasters, which aren't the Delta blasters, and you'll see what they are once I get him transformed. But for now, he can hold the blasters in both hands. Just like that. So the transformation is pretty simple. What you do is you basically flip the whole thing around to start, and you already get an indication of what it's going to transform into. You remove this panel, flip down this one, flip the head all the way around until it clicks into place like that. Then close up this, place this panel back on the back, using 2 pegs and 2 holes. like so. Then rotate the feet all the way around 180 degrees. And so now you have him transformed into the SWAT Megazord. Now that's why, this is the real reason why it looks kind of strange as the SPD Red Ranger. It's because of the design to transform into the SWAT Megazord. But they did do a good job on this. As can be seen, they have all the silver, red, blue, and green detailing that is on there, though they didn't paint the feet, which are supposed to be the yellow and pink swords. And since they're very similar, unless you can easily distinguish between the two designs, you might have a hard time figuring out which one is yellow and which one is pink, unless you've memorized which one goes on which. The sculpt is well done, the head especially, to the point where all the mold detail and all the molded paint that's there, that's supposed to be there, is there, including on the back. They did a nice job in the sculpt of the wings, as well as on that of the arms. The legs as well, even giving paint to the sides. And of course, since this is basically the back of the Red Ranger, it has all the same articulation. And of course, it can hold its blasters, as these are the SWAT Megazord's blasters. So just like that. However, there is also one more transformation that this thing has, which is transforming into the SWAT Megazord's blaster mode. So to do that, it's also pretty simple. Take off this back panel, then using these two holes in the two pegs up here, just plug this in like so. Then fold his arms back and clip them into place, like so. Then click the legs together and rotate around the feet. And you have the SWAT Megazord's blaster mode, which is also why they actually put in the Kruger part, because this thing can be held. Of course, it's smaller than what you'd get if you had the actual SWAT Megazord. Unfortunately, I don't have the SWAT Megazord, so I can't really compare it. However, from all the pictures I've seen, this is a very nice representation. And for all intents and purposes, it's a pretty nice toy. And it's certainly not top of the line. But it's nice for what it is, because it gives you a Ranger figure that transforms into a very accurate, it turns into a really accurate Megazord figure, as well as into an additional mode of that Megazord. So, if you're an SPD fan in like the SWAT mode and or the SWAT Megazord, and are like transforming figures, then I can recommend this. So I'll just turn this back into the Red Ranger, and then we'll move on to the Red Mystic Ranger. Going like that. It's all right like that. Okay. And now, for the other figure. So this is the Dragon Morphin Red Mystic Ranger, and that already gives you an indication that it turns into a dragon, so I don't have to say that later. So what we have is a pretty redesigned Red Ranger. They actually added a little bit more sculpt to the head and to the chest, and actually makes it rather unique from the regular Mystic Force Ranger design. The chest looking a little bit more armored, and the Phoenix symbol looking a little bit more, it's like it's a kind of a mask that's attached. Has some nice molding detail, And once again uses a kind of a mesh texture for the body, the arms, and the legs, as well as using some new gold gauntlets and gold boots. Though the belt basically stays intact. And on the back you can basically see all of its dragon parts hanging off. Articulating wide, there's nothing in the head. The arms go forward and back, at least if you move these parts out of the way, and can go in and out. No elbow joint, but there is a wrist swivel. Legs go forward and backwards, in and out. Have a single knee joint, and have an ankle joint, which is pretty interesting. Accessory-wise, he comes with this sword, which is a pretty nice looking sword that, while it is all gold plastic, has some nice sculpting and detail, like some patterns along the blade, as well as a scale-like pattern going down it. There's even a little bit of a molded pattern of X pattern in the actual handle, which of course can be held by the Red Ranger figure here. It just goes right into the hand and stays in quite nicely. It has a very nice, comfortable and tight grip on the sword, meaning it won't wobble around or fall out. So it's perfectly capable of being well posed with the sword. The transformation is also one that's pretty simple, but maybe a little bit more complex than that on the Mega Morphin Red SWAT Mode SPD Ranger. So to start it, you flip around these panels here, move the arms out like so, then fold out these flame parts, take this panel, flip it down, flip in the Red Ranger's head, close it up, and flip over this dragon head. Flip around these other dragon legs. And you want to peg together the legs like so. Fold back the feet so they're like that. Then take these two pegs in the sword and plug them into these holes on the feet. Just like so. It's a little tricky because of the angle. And there you have the Red Ranger transformed into a dragon. The dragon's actually pretty interesting. They actually did basically put in scale details for the back of its neck and the actual back, as well as giving the legs, the boot, this kind of scale pattern for the tail. The wings are interesting because they've got this gold feather-like portion, but then they have these kind of blended plastic flames, which are nicely molded and are safe as a pretty flexible plastic, but not too flexible as it feels rubbery. And the way it transitions from a yellow to a red is actually pretty smooth and does look quite cool. The head actually has a little bit of the design of the head for the Mystic Phoenix, or the Phoenix Titan Zord, kind of on it, because it's got this the kind of M over its eyes, the kind of silver horn, and the green eyes. But it's also a pretty unique dragon design, though it definitely is modeled after your typical European dragon. Oh, additionally, the claws actually can be moved up and down. A little bit of articulation there, and once again, there's some scaling added to the front legs. So this thing is also articulated. It's got a ball joint head, though it's mostly 360-degree rotation. Has a jointed mouth that can open and close, and they did paint all the teeth silver. The wings are basically the arms, so they can move up and down a little bit. And rotate, of course. The legs move in and out, as well as have that toe hinge. The back legs are basically just on swivel joints, so they move like so. And the tail is, well, of course, the legs, so it can move up and down, and it has a joint here, as well as a little joint right there as well. This is actually a pretty cool design, if I do say so. And it is actually quite original. So if you're looking for a figure that, has its own unique design and doesn't really take too many cues from the actual series, then I can say that this is a nice figure to buy. Especially since the redesign that they do to the Red Mystic Ranger is actually pretty cool, and of course it's unique in its own way. And the dragon definitely looks good as a figure on its own. So turn it back into the Red Ranger. I can wrap things up. Just going like that and that. And getting the head back in place. And for me, I personally prefer to just flip the dragon head around like that when it's in its ranger mode. So we're 3/4 of the way done. There's just one more video left, and as I've been in the pattern, you'll see that tomorrow. So stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. And putting this guy back up and getting him balanced. And just one more readjustment. There we go. For now, this is KRX50, riding off.